All right, here we go. Are we breaking wrestling barriers? Are we figuring out the next challenger to Hikaru Shida? Are we getting ready for FTR's first in-ring debut? So much more to come this week as we bring the discussion to you about all things All Elite Wrestling. Hello, everybody. I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster, and welcome to AEW Spark. This is your pre-show into AEW Dynamite, as well as your after show for AEW Dark. And with me on this fine day, this evening, 6:40 p.m., Wednesday, June 3rd, it is my good friend, positive wrestling personality, leader of Team All Elite, founder of Team All Elite. He is All Elite. He's a good-hearted fellow, and he's with All Elite Wrestling. This is the man right here, Mark the Griff Reviews. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing good. And you know what? You know what today is?
Hey,
you know what that means, right?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Broyley, I didn't need you with your Twitter for that, and I didn't need Evil Uno to retweet it. Technically, we are, brother. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, and that's why he's wearing full gear. It's all about All Elite Wrestling here, folks. And with that, we're just going to get right into it. As always, for those that might not know this forum, I always like to shed some light first on AEW Spark by reviewing AEW Dark. And I love the direction they're going, building what seems to be two subtle storylines, but now it might really be becoming what they want it to be, a talent development platform, as we had our first ever independent wrestling-focused match. With that, we're going to briefly highlight the card here, and we're going to start off with John Skyler versus Billy Gunn. Shout out, by the way, to NWA referee Jeffrey Cabo, who did it for me, that he's well aware of this wrestler and is aware of his work. Support Pride Wrestling, folks. John Skyler took on Billy, as he just called Billy, but the most obnoxious thing in this match was definitely Austin Gunn, and I feel like that played in Billy's favor. Interesting, at one point, Billy Gunn looked like he was going for a powerbomb or pile driver. Austin said no. I'm not sure what that meant, unless he's trying to define his own style, but he won off the famous, sir. Any further thoughts you have on this match, or the Gun Club, or John Skyler, Mark?
I was actually looking forward to seeing how John Skyler performed in the ring, because I had watched a few of his matches in PWX down in the Carolinas, and he was actually he's Jared Fritz's trainer as well. So, and this was my mind frame. I mean, I didn't see why Billy Gunn was going to go over here. I was like, listen, if the only reason he's going over is for one or two reasons here, is if they start if he's getting ready for a tag team run with Austin, or maybe he's trying to get prepared for a run at Cody, but I didn't see why they would put him over here. So I was actually leaning towards picking John Skyler here, because I didn't know where the contract status was with him. I mean, I know they're all indie talents right now, but I mean, John Skyler was a big name to me. I knew who he was, so it had the gears turning. But either way, Billy Gunn won, and that's just how it ended up. So,
yeah, and I feel like also this was his AEW debut too, and we've seen your debut is not your only match, especially during these quarantine times where AEW gives the independent wrestling scene a chance, and I love that. Following this, though, we go into some subtle story development, as the newest thing going on lately is Allie, yay Allie, one of my favorites, seems to be going for a different change of heart, maybe, or character development, as she's been hanging out and apparently guiding QT Marshall, making his life happy, teaching him to be more vegan, trying to make himself seem more serious in and out of the ring. They rolled up in a beautiful blue Corvette, and apparently this was ahead of their match the Natural Nightmares had against the unlikely duo of Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler, the story of AEW Dark. Which one would get the win first? Or in this case, could they get the win together tonight? Before we get to that match, though, as this was just a subtle outside build-up, we go into our next match, Tag Team Classic, with Butcher and Blade, not with Bunny, interesting, versus John Cruz and Joe Alonzo. Apologies, folks. John Cruz and Joe Alonzo, I could tell that B&B were out to do one thing, deliver full death, as their adversaries had barely any offense in this match. Literally, John Cruz was brutalized the first half of this match by Butcher. I always respect a man that can sport a good Monaco. And then basically Joe Alonzo finally gets a tag, and it looks like BB, they're playing with him, more so to send a statement on something we're going to discuss when we talk about Dynamite. In the end, though, John Cruz, he gets pinned by Full Death, the combination, I think, Samoan drop neckbreaker move, and Butcher pins him 1, 2, 3. Mark, your thoughts so far on the alignment of QT and Allie and Butcher and Blade's maybe motives or mindset at this moment?
I don't understand it. Doesn't QT watch the program? doesn't he know where she came from and what she's been doing here? Like, I mean, he's not blind to the fact that it seems like she's got a hidden agenda. So, I mean, I see it, Brandy sees it, Cody sees it, you see it, we all see it. But for some reason, whether it's the hair plugs or the new car, he's not seeing it right now. So we'll have to just wait and see how that plays out.
All right, fair enough. And again, John Cruz and Joe Alonzo, this is not their first match in AEW, but it's probably the most brutal one. And in fact, Joe Alonzo's very first match was mere seconds. I will give him this. He lasted a few minutes with BB, but the result was still inevitable. And next up, following that, we go backstage to the other half of our main event as Peter Avalon, Brandon Cutler, they're arguing amongst each other. I will carry our team. I'm going to get the win tonight. No, I'm going to get the win tonight. As to that whole subtle rivalry about who's going to get the win first. It wasn't until a voice of reason, Leva Bates, came in and says, here's the difference, guys, and I know science. 2 negatives equal a positive, and I'm going to be out there with you. Could Leva Bates be the difference maker in what truly has been 2 of the longest losing streaks in recent wrestling memory, let alone the longest wrestling losing streaks in AEW? Only time will tell. Following this, though, came my most interesting match tonight, and not because one of them is from Ohio. Shout out to Painesville, Ohio. Kylan King, you rock. You did your best. As she took on Christy James, who came off a match last week against Hikaru Shida. She's been known to show a lot of flair, a lot of attitude, but also a lot of in-ring presence. And apparently Taz has been really mentioning that a lot, too. Again, I feel like a lot of this show is more so talent scouting. And the fact they did this one-on-one independent women's wrestling-focused match, I'm telling you, they're scouting for the women's division that's slowly growing and improving, in my opinion. I thought both of them showed a lot of flair, good in-ring offense and maneuvers here. Kylan King showing more power with vicious, wicked deep arm drag. And apparently they were doing a samba off at one point. Christy, I think, wins that, though. In the end, though, after some strong offensive fray, Kylan King, she gets caught up after a counter roll-up with another roll-up, but Christy had the freaking tights. Dang it, Kylan. But hey, typical heel tactics, smart in-ring outside rest view. Christy James gets her first ever win under AEW. And Kylan King, I hope we personally see more of her. Mark, your thoughts on both of these women and this match?
Christy James was definitely impressive. I like her gimmick. I like her entrance. It definitely gripped me from the beginning, and I definitely think King has a lot of potential as well. So hopefully we'll get to see more of her on Dark. Maybe she'll even make a few Dynamites. We'll have to see what happens.
True, because Kylan King has yet to show up on AEW Dynamite. Christy James, she does have more experience being on AEW Dynamite. Not to mention, she has been in the ring now with their champ. So experience definitely was in her favor. But Kylan King, crazy chick, known to be in, I believe, Best Wrestling and Pro South Wrestling. Apologies if I screwed those promotions' names. Go look at some of her work. It's pretty impressive. Following that, we go into a tag bout with the following duo, EJ Lewis and Big Game Leo, who apparently have been trained by, or at least been in the ring with, Private Party, versus 2 guys that Taz is very fond of. And by ring attire, this has me very optimistic about the future of those 2 men with a certain human suplex machine, as Taz heavily endorsed these wild animals, and boy, were they that. As proud and powerful, Santana Ortiz put on a wrestling clinic, and basically, I think we're toying with their opponents like they were literally a piece of meat at one point. Big Game Leroy, he got basically the easy way out, I feel like. As the first half of the match, his partner got decimated. The worst thing to get destroyed in this match was a Nintendo Switch. And by the colors, I imagine it was Splatoon 2. Dumb idea bringing a $300 game system to the ring. I don't know where they got $400 from. Anyway, EJ Lewis, he got a little bit of offense in at the expense of Santana. And then he literally got dropped first with some wicked kicks. Following this, there was a gory torture rack type setup tag team offense by Proud and Powerful. Very ingenious. Another stiff kick and then a fresh kick out of nowhere. And they're like, okay, you want to get in here? After trying to break up a near pinfall, Big Game Leroy, you want in? You're in now. And he suffered for it. There was a lager bomb into a wheelbarrow step-up cannonball, and then in the end, they finally had their fun and pick up the win via the street sweeper. Proud and Powerful, they're trying to do what they can to bring that momentum back to your circle and really to themselves. And these 2 young boys, well, I hope the experience was worth it. But rule number 1, don't bring a Nintendo Switch to AEW. Mark, your thoughts on this match?
All this match was a reminder that Santana and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, are not to be played with, man, and they showed it here.
Simple as that. And again, Taz, he heavily endorsed these 2 men. He loves these men's attitude. They're wild pit bulls, as Jericho said. And then we go into our main event and the other real storyline in AEW Dark as Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler with Leva Bates, they come out to challenge the Natural Nightmares. But it wasn't just Natural Nightmares with Brandy, as QT also had Allie. And Allie decided to contribute her own perspective on this match with her own guest commentary. I haven't seen that actually since Double or Nothing last year. Nice to hear her voice. She was clearly focused on QT in this match and what he's been doing in the ring and what she's been doing to apparently coach or guide QT. And it seems like Allie, she may have turned a new leaf. They're both happy together. As it seems like Excalibur was trying to get to really the bottom of this, asking questions regarding B&B, but every time it was come up, she shut it down and just focused back on QT. In the end, though, there was some good tag team work here between Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler in the beginning, but some miscommunications later on, and QT, of course, being dominated at first, but QT trying to impress Allie, he carried the first portion of the match, and Leva tried to do some self-distractions. Dustin comes into play, he's about to do Shattered Dreams, Leva tries to come in, tries to hit him with a hardback book, only for her to get basically taken out by Brandy Rose. I'm telling you that one-on-one is going to happen. Going towards the end, freaking Dustin pulls out a freaking Canadian destroyer. How the hell do you do that? And then apparently QT Cutter, now named Red Delicious for Allie, it picks up the Natural Nightmares, continue momentum and win as they are currently number 2 in the rankings of the tag team division. Following this, we get a nice congratulations from Alex Marvez. And then in the end, QT goes to celebrate with Allie as she stands off camera, but we zoom towards her, and he closes with this line: "She's the apple in my eye. Gag me with a fork." Like I said to Big Slow and Cindy on Twitter, Allie is one of those you always need to watch because she always leaves you questioning. And then I think about the movie Hoodwink, and I think about this one line, which will be the end of this saga. Never trust a buddy. Mark my words. Match partnership with Allie and QT.
Well, see, this is the thing that I've been doing a lot of thinking on this, and what is the end game here for her? You know what I mean? I mean, she's not gonna. I don't think she's gonna get much out of QT Marshall, not knocking him at all. But I'm looking at the big picture here. I'm thinking Nightmare Family. I'm thinking like big picture here, Cody. I think like there's gonna be a big story behind this. They're not just doing this for shits and giggles, excuse my language, but I think there's definitely a reason behind it, and I think it's all gonna come down to probably trying to bring down the Nightmare Family.
And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me because, again, Butcher and Blade, one of those men is literally Allie's real-life husband. Happy birthday, by the way, to the Blade today. And clearly, you know what every tag team's gunning for, Tag Team Gold, currently held by the Elite. However, the Nightmare Family is very close towards the Elite in a way. And being number 2, you try and knock off the number 2 team, that brings you up huge in this stacked depth tag team division. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's go ahead and look at Dynamite. What we're going to do, we're going to look at tonight's Dynamite and look at the events that led to tonight's Dynamite, as again, Dynamite shows continuity throughout most of their shows. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we have a tag team title match tonight, as last week, and I called it because I sensed something big's coming finally. SCU's Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, they lost to the Superbad Squad, they're being called. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc, with assistance, I might add, by the Wildcat of Penelope Ford. Some might say it was just a numbers game that gave them the advantage. I see something deeper here. Ever since they're on Being the Elite, we're asking Christopher Daniels, who are you supporting more in that ladder match? Not to mention, they start off that casino ladder match because SCU already had their moment in the sun. They've been tag team champions. But now you wonder, can they make it as singles? And are they pushing towards that? Mark, give me your thoughts on that tag team match last week. What do you see going on with SCU? And, of course, tonight, we have a tag team championship match between Superbad Squad, Kip Sabian, and Jimmy Havoc versus Heyman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. What do you see going on here? Because keep in mind, the winner of this match tonight will face, no matter what, the best friends for the tag team titles at Fyter Fest, because they're the official #1 contenders.
Exactly. First off, I don't know, that was, SCU seemed a little rusty. First 88 days since the buy-in revolution where they faced the Dark Order. So even at what was it? They didn't even choose to work together. You know what I mean? They chose to go against one another. So they seemed rusty. I suspected Jimmy Havoc and Kip to win this. But as far as the tag match tonight, I don't think that's it. I think Kenny and Omega is gonna and Adam Hangman Page only retain. I'm sorry, I had to move out here. The signal was getting bad. I was losing you. So.
Oh, you're all good. Technical difficulties, folks. Gotta love it. Yeah, and I have to agree. There's no way I see Heyman and Page and Cam with the amount of momentum they have going for them as a duo, especially Heyman and Page. I can't see them losing this title, and honestly, I'm looking forward to Best Friends versus Omega and Page because I feel that's going to be a major, major angle towards both these teams' futures in AEW. All right, so following that, let's go into the six-man tag from last week. Oh, there we go. Y'all good? Just want to make sure.
I think so.
All right. Well, okay. You know what? No, because I feel that's the bigger angle. Let's go into the women's division as we had a number of things happen here. First off, Britt Baker. It's official, folks. She's injured, but she says she'll be back it all out. But not before she tries to basically disclose what she thinks is a conspiracy against her as she looks at Aubrey Edwards, Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander, Big Swole even. She looks at everybody being a work hazard to her or against her. And it seems right now she's thinking everyone's a conspirator. Now, words out there still on that. I don't know how much that's true, but I do know this. Hikaru Shida, she does not mean to injure anybody, even though rule number 3 is don't injure the role model, as she subtly put last week. Hikaru Shida had a great match against Christy James, made Christy look strong, but she won. But now the former champion, Nyla Rose, she's in action against, and I feel this is coming for a long time, Big Swole. Big Swole returns to in-ring action tonight after being, I feel like, fan of the night at Double or Nothing, but not before that pay-per-view where she once confronted Nyla Rose as champion towards her title reign. Well, that's out of the picture. So both of these women are going to be looking for a win here as they try and put their name back in the face of Hikaru Shida. So with that being said, are we on the verge of an upset here? Big Swole going to win here, or is Nyla Rose going to be silent and dominant and try and go after Hikaru Shida again? Mark, your thoughts on Britt Baker's address of the women's division and the match tonight?
The women's division is actually getting a hell of a lot better. This is how I think tonight for the matchup. I see now that Nyla's not the champion, I feel like she can afford to maybe lose one. But I just that's just my opinion. But I don't think Swole's going to win here. But I think that if they were going to pull the trigger, I really think they might do it tonight. But I was really 50-50 on this for the longest time. But overall, the women's division, like, I'm entertained each and every week for the last 6 weeks, honestly. I mean, you can just tell them that the improvement is there. You can tell that the women's division has heard the complaints. You can tell. And I just think they've gotten better, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do tonight.
Yeah, and I feel like this is not the one-off. I feel like this might be a short-term rivalry because we've seen the women's division have more than one story just being the title. With that being said, let's talk about the other story. Give me your thoughts on Britt Baker's, case disclosed.
I will say, I think endgame here, I think there's going to be I don't know there. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Britt, they could be setting up a match with Britt versus Aubrey?
That'd be an interesting angle, but Aubrey is not a wrestler. She is a referee. Despite the fact she is a huge influence, not only on the women's division, but all elite wrestling. As a character, producer, etc., you name it. It'd be an interesting angle, especially because she said at the center of it all is Aubrey, and she's like, what? So, no, because, again, I could see her going through the rest of the division when she comes back, as she rolled off in her robot wheelchair, and she won't be back till All Out. There's a bigger picture here, and I feel like it's going to be simply this. Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. You have the most dominant in-ring female athlete you have at AEW versus the most character-built athlete of AEW, and many people who believe should be at this point AEW Women's Champion. I see that being the end game.
Yeah, definitely so. I was just trying to think outside the box here because on Twitter I've had a lot of people ask me personally that they were wondering if that was possibly the end game there, but just the way you broke it down, I mean, she's not a wrestler, we all know that, but she's her market, she's very marketable, and I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen either, but
we haven't seen Aubrey Edwards take a bump yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I at least wanted to flip roles for a second and ask you. So
Oh, absolutely, man. That's what I'm all about. This is all about engaging with the fans of AEW, where I bring my perspective and you guys bring your perspective in questioning. But with that, I want just you to take this solely because, look, we've all seen the capabilities of Le Champion, but this swerve out of nowhere, recalling 10 years of built-up frustration, apparently, was unbelievable closer to me. So, Mark, give me your thoughts on the Inner Circle's pep rally and the end math of it.
Wow. I thought it was hilarious. I definitely all the gifts and all that stuff, and just when Mike Tyson came out, the first thing and listen, I want to be honest. I don't want to compare the two at all, but I'm not. I'm just saying that it came off. It came off. I didn't really care for it, to be honest with you. And I guess if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But I don't know. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it for you, but this is one of the downfalls for me personally, and this is just me personally. And I hope that nobody gets offended by that. But I'm not really feeling the whole Tyson Jericho thing at all. I love the Inner Circle. I'm a big supporter. I love Jericho. I love Sammy. He's one of the most talented people in AEW. But that's not the thing here. It's it's not really my cup of tea.
Well, the thing is, I feel like Mike Tyson was brought in, if nothing else, to bring that mainstream appeal to AEW, to bring in more viewership, because I agree with you. I do not like the idea of Mike Tyson versus Chris Jericho. But being the creative innovator he is, I clearly see Chris Jericho pulling a swerve on this. He might bring in his own heavyweight fighter, a ghost of Tyson's past for all we know. Tyson, this might just be a pick your poison match, and both men are in respective corners. We have no idea what the end game is here. But clearly they're going to set up something, and clearly it has garnered attention, as the numbers don't lie. But with that being said, let's think about the aftermath here. At the end, we had, of course, Pull Apart Brawl. It was Tyson and his posse versus the Inner Circle, after Chris Jericho put on the weirdest pep rally I've ever seen to date, and I haven't seen one since high school, as we had cheerleaders, including one that I would never ask out on a date, Vicky Guerrero, God. And then we had the weirdest gifts I've ever seen from Vic's Vapor Up, though I could use that, the Scooter, Cheese, and a poem where Jack Swagger showed how lyrical he could be, but also very cynical. As it turned out, he wanted to murder people at the end. I was like, okay, now I'm happy. If that's your form of happiness, I don't want to hang out with you. Good grief. But again, that was just pure entertainment. Again, Chris Jericho, hands down, brilliant, really brilliant. But yeah, after all that, apparently it was Colt Cabana, according to Jericho, that suspended him from, and I quote, "I was going to knock out Tyson, you son of a bitch." So now we have Le Champion, Chris Jericho versus Colt Cabana. And Colt Cabana being, of course, one of the most unconventional wrestlers in AEW versus one of the most creative, unpredictable wrestlers in AEW with his own posse. I feel like this is easily a match winnable by Chris Jericho to continue this subtle rivalry of Mike Tyson, you're going to pay for what you did. You're going to pay for betraying me. I'm going to knock your ass out. Mark my words. Mark, do you believe that Colt Cabana has a chance of winning this match tonight?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm sorry. And this is the thing. And ironically, the topic is Colt Cabana because I've never really been a fan of Colt Cabana either, but so I'm actually going to enjoy Chris Jericho getting the better of him tonight. So we'll see what happens.
And that's no diss, by the way, to Colt Cabana, people. We're just looking at this from a creative storytelling standpoint. But again, it's our opinions. You don't have to agree with them. We just want to hear what you think. That's what AEW is all about. With that being said, there were two other major things that happened as a part of this show. Let's go ahead and talk about the man that is Brian Cage, or should I say Machine. Brian Cage has an AEW Dynamite debut with Jon Moxley on commentary, who basically said, and I quote, "I feel like absolute shit." I don't blame you, especially after that bruise bump we saw. Damn! Anyway, with that being said, Brian Cage, he basically threw from one side of the ring, or as Jon Moxley put it, the Gulf of Mexico, outside the Gulf of Mexico, his opponent, one side of the ring to the other as Taz watched on. Simple squash, simple win, good strong showing as he wins with the drill claw. And then Taz, he puts out this statement endorsing the man known as Brian Cage, which it is official. Brian Cage will face Jon Moxley for the AEW Heavyweight Championship at Fyter Fest. Date and location yet to be determined. I thought it was a very good way to show his dominance, and now we know what Taz is all about. You're facing not a man, but a machine. Survive if he lets you. I thought that was a very interesting line because it's like Brian Cage, like, I'm not going to stop until you're not going to move. But we also know how crazy and relentless Jon Moxley is as he looks on. Again, he built like crap. I thought it was good subtle storytelling. And of course, this week, Brian Cage will be in action again. I expect more of the same thing. He's going to dominate. Jon Moxley probably won't be on commentary, but he's going to send another message to Jon Moxley. Mark, your thoughts on the pairing of Brian Cage and Taz?
Man, I love it. Taz definitely just Excalibur said on Dark, he's definitely, or Dynamite, he's definitely got a meal ticket on his hands here. He is definitely a monster. I'm definitely a machine, more or less. Like, I definitely want to see what happens here. I'm actually leaning. I mean, I'm not going to make my prediction now. Fighter Fest, we don't know when it's going to be, but I'm actually leaning towards maybe picking him. I honestly, I haven't made up my mind yet, but I'm really hyped about this pairing here, and I think it's going to turn out that Mox definitely has a big deal on his hands, so we'll see what happens.
Well, he's a fighting champion. You got to respect the man's guts and heart. But again, he took down one giant. Can he take down a machine? Only time will tell. When that time comes, we have yet to know. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and first talk about the direction of the TNT Championship. As we all know, Cody became the inaugural champion at Double or Nothing against Lance Archer. And he still has that belt in its current condition because, again, he values the way he won that belt because this is the way he won it. He didn't look at it just for appeal. And it looks like he's really trying to, I would say, no pun intended, break the walls of the wrestling industry. As he subtly puts it, he wants to use this title to elevate wrestling, and he welcomes all comers, not just in AEW, but outside too. As he said, you're about to see something. The fun has just begun. I am going to do an open challenge for the TNT Championship every week on Dynamite. Of course, also we have subtle appearances by QT Marshall and Ali. We'll talk more about that later. Let's focus on this. But the way that Cody was delivering this promo, where he talked about the grit that he got basically from his mother, and he talks about how people might define me by just my name. Don't look at me by my name. Don't look at me by all the talent. I was not the first sign. I am not certainly the greatest wrestler. But what you should do is you should think about how much I will outwork you. And at one point, there was a subtle tease also in his promo. You saw this the same way I did. We'll talk more about that later. But give me your thoughts on Cody Rhodes' promo and his idea of the direction for the TNT Championship.
Man, I love it. And what I wrote down in my notes was one word: possibilities. Just imagine the possibilities each and every week. You got to tune in because you never know who's going to come up. Could it be Jeff Cobb? Could it be Jericho's Hitman? Could we see Marty Scurll pop up? It could be anybody. I mean, and that's the beauty of it, man. And it just it should. He hears about, crowning yourself the champion and all that negative stuff, but he has a chance now where he wants to prove that he's a fighting champion. And each and every time Cody does a promo, like, I'm on the edge of my seat, he grips you in, and this was no different. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm more excited for the TNT Championship than ever now after that.
That final line: this is my obligation. I give to you, the fans, my best. So follow me. This is where the fun begins. And it starts tonight as we learn who his first opponent is, because it was already determined that his first opponent would be determined by a winner of a battle royale. And there was a who's who of names in it, included but not limited to Colt Cabana, Luchasaurus, Billy Gunn, MJF, Wardlow, freaking Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy, and many others, Sonny Kiss, and I believe Joey Janela. And it was interesting to me because before this battle royale, there were some men hyping up this battle royale and the fact they're going to win it. One in particular, a ghost of Cody's past, MJF. He said he was in it. I've already beaten you once. Now I can beat you for a title anytime I want. Okay, but I think I'll take the opportunity to earn the shot to win against you for the title in this battle royale because I'm in it, but so is my man Wardlow, and Wardlow's going to be there to make sure I can win. But then, keyword, but nothing. But then MJF immediately comes off. Just, I'm kidding. I think we're finally seeing something develop within Wardlow, and I think we're on the verge of a breakup of a partnership here, or business alliance, whatever you want to call it. Because during this Battle Royale, what a hell of a miscommunication with that 42K punch, knocking out Wardlow and causing him to be eliminated. And in the end, The Battle Royale, it came down to, I cannot believe I'm saying this, even after he was attacked earlier, considering he interrupted, or basically just walked through an inner circle backstage interview with Alex Marvez that pissed them off so much they attempted before he can get in the match. Orange Cassidy. And in the end, it came down to Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy. And Jungle Boy was the one that got the win. So tonight, it is Jungle Boy versus Cody for the first match of the TNT Championship Open Challenge Road. Before it even begins, Mark, there's a lot of things to figure out here. Jungle Boy being the first, so much potential. We've seen the sit-downs with him and Cody on the roads, too. This is his first singles match for gold. We've also seen now this idea of Wardlow breaking away from MJF, and who knows where that might be going. This is really MJF's, I think, first blemish, basically, in his AEW type of running, as far as dominance, in control, and everything goes. And now we have Cody facing Jungle Boy. So give me your thoughts on everything that's happened between the Battle Royale and what you expect tonight. Do you think Jungle Boy can pull the upset?
Yes and no. Listen, we seen what Jungle Boy could do when he went 10 minutes with Chris Jericho, so you know the talent's there. And it's almost like I feel bad because there's no way that Cody's losing here. He's not losing his first defense. It's almost like, man, it had to be why did it have to be Jungle Boy? You know what I mean? That's how I feel, but I don't think there's no scenario you can write in. And the thing about it is this. Cody's going to win, but Jungle Boy's going to come out looking like the star of the movie. I promise you that in defeat, he's going to put on the show of a lifetime, and that's what I expect. I mean, you got to think there's only one time you can say it was defended for the first time. There's only one first. This is the first. Both of them boys are going to put on a show tonight.
Yeah, it's going to put Jungle Boy over the moon. Again, Jungle Boy, he's already raised his stock after his classic match with MJF at Double or Nothing, where those two just had a pure wrestling classic. But when you're talking about pure wrestling, I look at tag team wrestling, and I think only about one team. But first, before that, last week there was a 6-man tag where we got another side of Broken Hardy, or just another face of Matt Hardy. Good grief, how many different faces does he have? As the Young Bucks pull out the Hardy they remember from their childhood, Extreme Hardy. As the Young Bucks and Extreme Hardy took on, well, I'm just calling the Jersey Boys, or Party Boys, excuse me, in Private Party Joey Janela. This was a fast, hot-paced, 6-man tag action all around. Matt Hardy dominating most of it, giving us all the classic moves, including an assisted poetry in motion, twist of fate, and even top rope senton. However, there was a solo cue with the audience. Audience, of course, was very engaging, bigger than I saw, including Dark Order representatives. Ugh. But anyway, there was a huge miscue where the audience, they took a blunt shot, a super kick. And Butcher and Blade were the victims. They didn't like it. So we had some audience involvement here during the match. In the end, it didn't play towards the finish. As Mark Quan, it looked like he might have suffered an injury. It looks like it was okay. But in the end, the Elite, I'm just going to call them that, the Elite, they did get the win. However, that was not the story here in this match, as Matt Hardy, of course, assisted the potentially injured member of our party to the back. Butcher and Blade stormed the ring, and they attacked the Young Bucks. Go figure. I saw that coming. And it looked like we're getting a beatdown. Looks like we know Butcher and Blade's next direction. Or do we? As out of nowhere, in a big old black pickup truck, pulling up farther than Cody did, I might add, and not as merely destructive, but destructive impact, I would say, in their debut. It's official. FTR are All Elite. The former Revival are in All Elite Wrestling. And they went to town on Butcher and Blade while the crowd chanted, holy shit. And it looked like they were going to attack the Young Bucks at first, but they didn't. In the end, it was just stare down, and both teams, they just went their separate ways. So now, I don't know how much bigger you can make tag team wrestling. The fact you got FTR added to the most stacked tag team roster in the business today. And come this week, we will learn about FTR more as they have a sit-down interview with Tony Schiavone. Mark, I got to go with you here. In my opinion, this was the biggest moment to happen last week. It's been played over and over and over again. They talked about it. They endorsed it. Give me your thoughts on FTR being in All Elite Wrestling. And do you see them first facing Butcher and Blade?
Man, what a moment, man. I just wish that it could have been 20,000 people there, because the fact of seeing them four in the ring was unreal, because people have been looking forward to this for the longest time. And I can say that the entrance came off really well. And I'm really looking. And another thing, JR and Tony, they definitely sold the fact that FTR's initial target was the Bucks, but we all knew, I don't know about you, but I knew that there was going to be a respect factor there. And when Butcher and the Blade were over there selling the fact that the FTR was there to attack the Young Bucks, I was like, yep, they're definitely getting ready to turn around. And that's what they did. And I'm glad they did it like that. It's different. And I liked it. And I'm really excited to see what happens now, man. I'm looking forward to this match.
Yeah, we have no idea what direction these 6 men really are going, but I have a feeling that tag team wrestling is about to take a whole different story outside the title picture. I can't wait to see it with these 6. Butcher and Blade and FTR, that's a hell of an opening match. I mean, heck, one team's wearing black gear, the other one team's wearing white gear, so they're clearly opposites right there. And, of course, They ended their debut, of course, with a Shatter Machine on Butcher and Blade. And we learned what FTR finally stood for. F the rest, as the shirt shows. I cannot wait to see what these two bring to All Elite Wrestling. And folks, that's your preview enough for AEWDynamite. So with that, let's go ahead and spark some discussions based on what we saw. Mark, you saw this subtle cue like I did. Now, was this just out of pure context, or is this something bigger to come? We saw a picture of FTR with Arn Anderson. We know Arn Anderson works closely with Cody as a coach of the Nightmare family. And now we might be on the verge of a brand new 4 Horsemen faction. Nightmare Horses, what the hell might you call it? What might be the 4th member? Some people think Sean Spears because of the work with Tully Blanchard, and we'll talk more about Tully basically giving Sean a piece of his mind because that was serious too. Could it be maybe Wardlow? Are we hearing a major shift? Could it be someone we don't know? Give me your thoughts on the potential of a 4 Horsemen faction, and who do you see in it?
Man, let me tell you, if they do, I hope they do it right, man. And let me tell you, I heard on the internet that a lot of people are suggesting Sean Spears, and that's what sparked this, the beginning stages of Tully meaning business. Man, let me tell you, if it is going to be Sean Spears, he's going to have to definitely get a reality check, which I think that was what the beginning of stages of that was. Let me tell you, as long as it's done, as long as it's done right, man, I'm excited, and I hope. And man, as far as who's in it, oh man, see, I would if you put Sean Spears in there, which I'm a Sean Spears fan, so I'm on board with it. As long as they point his character in the right direction, it should be fine. So if you go Cody and you go Spears, I'd like to see maybe I see Hangman would be alive, man. I wouldn't want Hangman in there.
Right.
That would just be me. That would just be me. So, Cody, Wardlow, Sean Spears, and oh man.
I like how you go with individual personalities versus actual tag team, because I thought Cody, Sean Spears, and FTR is a brilliant idea.
Let's do that. FTR, okay. Sean Spears, and Cody. Let's do that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the roster here, as we always like to look at rankings a little bit. Right now, Cody, John Moxley, they're owning the men right now. They're number ones as the champions, 10-1, 12-0, respectively. MJF, though, he's still number one. I still have a feeling that he's going to challenge for the world title come Fyter Fest, and maybe that's just longer-term booking. We got Lance Archer, number 2, Mr. Broyley, number 3, Kenny Omega, number 4, and Darby Allin, number 5. By the way, if you all have not heard Darby Allin's AEW Unrestricted podcast appearance, I highly suggest you do. He talks a lot about what he stands for, what AEW has allowed him to do, and why he does what he does. To think, the guy doesn't want to do necessarily what others want him to do. He doesn't necessarily feel like he needs to do something unless he needs to do it. He wants to basically do what he feels he has to do to put over, and that wants to be basically his legacy. In the end, he just wants to do what's best by him, for him. And I feel like AEW has definitely allowed him to do that, as he talked about WWE being like a glass ceiling, treating him like just, you know, one of the boys just in the shuffle. And he was very real on that. But then again, John Moxley said, I would not even want to work as a WWE producer. I work at McDonald's, but that's a whole different story. I look at the women's division. We got Hikaru Shida. She's ranked number 1. Nyla Rose. I'm sorry, he's number 1 because champs are not part of the rankings. They overrun everything. But you got Chris Statlander, number 2, Britt Baker, number 3, Yuka. How is she still number 4 is beyond me. And Penelope Ford is number 5. So I feel like Big Swole could make a wave on the rankings. But I still look at the tag team division being the most flexible here. Best Friends, number 1. Natural Nightmares, number 2. Private Party, number 3. Dark Order, number 4. And Young Bucks are number 5. But let's go ahead and talk about the Natural Nightmares. Again, that's a longer story because once again, throughout this episode of Dynamite, what do we see throughout, especially during the Cody speech? QT and Allie together in the audience, sharing conversation. Again, I feel like this is playing both across Dark and Dynamite, which I like. I like that type of idea of putting the two shows together, okay? Each one has their own sort of identity, but a couple storylines, they can intertwine. We'll see if more of that Allie and QT stuff plays out tonight. With the fact that Cody, he will be in action, but will QT be in the audience? Will Dustin be in the audience? I don't really know. Mark, do you have any further thoughts on, well, basically the Natural Nightmares? Do you see that angle continuing, being pushed forward tonight? Do you see more like Allie and QT showing up?
I do. I really think that this is gonna be a big picture, man. I think it's gonna be an ongoing storyline, and I don't think that we've been introduced to all the characters quite yet as far as the story goes. So I think that another chapter that's gonna be played out tonight.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see what other character you are talking about, because who knows, with all this other type of stuff, who knows who else might show up in AEW at this point. But it's like Gary says, he's kind of tired of the debuts. I don't know if they really need any more debuts. I mean, you gave us the big one now with FTR for your tag division. What do you do from here? Do you surprise us with another woman out of nowhere that could probably rival Karashita in the ring? Because right now, you need to find somebody that can challenge Shida in the ring. And she's also got great character development, I feel like, because she shows herself off as a very positive looking character for her social media on Instagram and her little YouTube channel. Love the match she shared, by the way. But give me your thoughts on the women's division, Mark. We look at the direction. We know what's happening tonight, but what do you see maybe coming up in the women's division? Do you have any further thoughts on any other developments with it?
I want to say I'm looking forward to seeing what Danny Jordan does. That's if she does get a contract with her. I've seen a few matches that she's had now, and I followed her for a little bit. And as far as some of the other well-known stars, like I'm a fan of Penelope Ford. Hopefully that she does good too. I know she's with Kip right now, but I'd like to see her get a good push. And as far as maybe the possibilities of maybe getting that out of nowhere free agent, man, I wouldn't mind seeing Tyra Valkyrie over there either. I know the running, the first place choice would be Tessa Blanchard because Tully's there and this and that. But hey, I wouldn't mind seeing Tyra or Tessa over there, so we'll have to wait and find out. But the women's division as a whole is got a lot more interesting. I can't say that. And Statlander, don't sleep on her because I know she does. She's come. I don't know. She's getting better. She's getting better, and I like her gimmick too. So we'll see what happens.
I feel like they need more character development. Like I said, I want to see some interesting promos connected to the characters. So I hope they work more on that. I would love to see Chris Statlander talking about how she's out of this world and she could challenge Shida for this title. Shida is this one of a kind, unique discovery of the universe. So maybe we'll get more of that because I feel like Chris Statlander versus Hikaru Shida will be a very competitive women's championship match. But again, we do not know the direction of the women's division going into Fyter Fest. We know one thing that's happening, and that's the World Championship match. John Moxley, I don't think he's going to be making an appearance tonight. He's probably recovering from his near butt wound. Again, ouch. So again, Brian Cage, he's going to destroy somebody. Taz is going to send our statement. But let's talk about Taz, okay? Because I've noticed some subtleties in AEW Dark. He endorsed Proud and Powerful. What were Proud and Powerful wearing? Orange. Taz has been really more of a critical coach-type commentator on AEW Dark. And again, he says that maybe it's his job as Calver's play-by-play guy. But I feel like he's being more of a gut check person, maybe scouting his own talent. Maybe he's trying to build his own sort of faction himself. Because again, he's already got the machine, the Brian Cage. If he picks up a tag team like Proud and Powerful based on how Jericho and the Inner Circle continue to go, because no faction lasts forever, and I can see Inner Circle definitely changing. Like I said, I see the partnership with MJF and Wardlow changing, and people keep talking about EC3, go to AEW. Well, off that Slammiversary commercial, who knows at this point? A lot of cameos were dropped, including EC3. But I want to get your thoughts on Taz. Do you see Taz potentially forming a faction?
I do, and you know what? I think it's a good idea. I mean, it kind of started with Darby. I know that I don't think they'll go that route, but what if they did? What if it was Darby, and what if it was Proud and Powerful, and what if it was Brian Cage? What if hey, I'd be down for anything, but like you said, factions don't last forever, and plus with Wardlow and MJF, there's definitely something going on there. We've seen it. So there's definitely a lot. The water's boiling in AEW right now, and I'm looking to see where it all lands. So
I think that's a fair analysis because, again, there's a lot of stuff right now. I feel like Double or Nothing is kind of like a reset for them, even though I feel like their biggest show of the year, based on the way they advertise it, and the fact it started with All In and now it's All Out. The biggest show of the year is going to be All Out, and it will also be the last pay-per-view before their first-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. And to think, AEW, yes, it's over a year old, but AEW Dynamite is not. We still have not seen a full year of AEW Dynamite, and that still baffles me to this day. Okay, so with that being said, Mark, do you have any further thoughts, possibilities on AEW Dynamite as far as tonight's episode goes, or anything on your mind?
The only thing on my mind right now is getting in front of that television and turning TNT on. But I will say, as far as some of the storylines go, I'm a Marty Scurll fan, man. And we all know he showed up last week in a BTE episode, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens here, man.
Well, I feel like as long as he's lead booker for Ring of Honor is doing everything they can to keep you in touch with their talent, even though they can't do like wrestling or any arena shows like NJPW. I still feel like that's something to come. But yeah, Marty Scurll versus Cody for the TNT Championship, that is how you go all out. And I would love to see that match. But again, the fact that Cody's trying to break the walls down, no pun intended, of the wrestling industry, opening up this title, this challenge to anybody, AEW or beyond, and I'm not just talking about beyond wrestling, it has huge possibilities to bring names we've never seen before. You might see once, and people might literally cross forbidden barriers just for this opportunity. If nothing else, this is the opportunity of a lifetime from a company that gives you the most opportunity and freedom, if possible. And it shows every week, and it's literally been testified by the talent for AEW Unrestricted, Darby Allin included. So yeah, I'm very optimistic to what can happen after this. And Jungle Boy, I feel like, again, he's going to be put over very strong, just like Cody put over Darby Allin in his debut, as Darby Allin put it. That was Darby Allin's like most important match probably to date in his career. Well, that and the one with Jericho, because Jericho, if you are wrestling Jericho, whether it's 5 minutes, or 20 minutes, or 10 minutes, you know there's something there with you, and others can see it, because you're getting something from Jericho. That says a lot. But with that being said, we are mere 30 minutes away from AEW Dynamite, so I'm already excited. This was a great conversation. I can't wait for the show. Good luck in predictions, and I hope you all enjoy the show too. With that, we are done here, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you for tuning in to this pre-show edition of AEW Spark. Mark, this is always a pleasure. Let's do this again. Anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook on Team All Elite. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm also on Twitter as well. My Twitter handle is Mark Lee Griffith. And yeah, man, I want to thank everybody. I hit 1,000 followers today, which I think I've only had Twitter like 3 months, man. So I've been doing this question of the day, and I'm thankful, man, because they've kind of made it a thing. So either way, and you can also find me on YouTube as well. I'm not really doing the YouTube thing anymore, but there is some old clips on there if you want to check out some wrestling stuff. So, but yeah, that's it for me.
Hey, man, keep debating that positive wrestling personality in this world of negativity. We need more of that, especially in the wrestling community. So, I mean, you and I continue to do that. Stay all elite. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. NoDQ.com/Noah takes you to my Twitter and Foster9016 on Instagram. This simple YouTube channel where you'll find all things All Elite Wrestling every week with AEW Spark, as well as All Talks Cruiserweights on 205 Live Matters and much more. YouTube.com/Noah Foster 210. Support NoDQ, buy a shirt, support them on all social media platforms, join the NoDQ Galaxy Predictions League, support the Greg Cherry brand, support Jeff Meacham Network, Pro Wrestling Discussions, Team All Elite. I could go on and on, but I do not have a lexicon in front of me despite having a notebook. With that being said, I will close with this. Support your wrestling outlets for big and small. Let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much, folks, for tuning into this pre-show edition of AEW Spark. We went like lightning because that's how excited we are. So please, like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit that bell, know next video goes live. Hit the subscribe button. You want to be where Mark is? You want to talk All Elite Wrestling? Let's spark a conversation. Hook me up. Reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, or hey, even Gary Jar, this man right here, will connect you through me Facebook Messenger. Next week will be a new guest. Brand new guest. I can't wait. He's part of Pro Wrestling Discussions. He's a good person, a good friend. So until the next video, for Mark the Griff Reviews, I am the simple man Noah Foster. Stay elite. Keep life too sweet. Respect one another. Support each other. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Enjoy wrestling. Be a part of the revolution. And tune in to AEW Dynamite tonight. And have a good night. We out, folks. Mark, good luck tonight. This was a pleasure. Peace.
Absolutely.